Fluffy was a cat, a very clumsy cat. One day he was chasing his tail. He bumped into a dusty old shelf. Crash! Books fell everywhere. Fluffy sneezed from the dust. Under the books, Fluffy saw a shiny thing. It was a treasure map. He picked it up with his paw. Wow, he thought, a treasure hunt. But Fluffy had a problem. He was not so smart. He needed help. Fluffy ran to his best friend, Squishy. Squishy was a hamster, a very smart hamster. "Look what I found," Fluffy said, showing the map. Squishy adjusted his tiny glasses and studied it. "Interesting," Squishy said. "We need a plan." Squishy quickly saw the map was old and tricky. "We need to find clues," Squishy said. "Let's start the adventure." Fluffy nodded, excited but nervous. He hoped he wouldn't mess up too much. Squishy was a master planner. He drew a route from the map. "First we go to the big oak tree," he said. Fluffy listened carefully. "We might find a clue there." They packed their bags. Fluffy carried snacks. Squishy carried the map and a magnifying glass. They set off on their journey. The sun was shining. Birds were singing. Fluffy tripped over a rock, but Squishy helped him up. They laughed and continued. At the oak tree, they found a riddle. "Who can solve this?" Fluffy asked. Squishy read it aloud. It says, "I speak without a mouth and hear without ears. I have no body, but I come alive with the wind." Fluffy scratched his head. "Is it a ghost?" he guessed. Squishy smiled. "No, Fluffy, it's an echo," they shouted. "Hello," the echo replied. They found the next clue hidden in a hole. They were on their way. The next stop was the forest. There lived a wise but forgetful owl named Oliver. They needed his help. "Oliver, can you help us?" Squishy asked. Oliver blinked. "Help? Of course. With what?" Fluffy showed him the map. "A treasure hunt," he said. "Ah, yes," Oliver said slowly. "I remember, or do I?" He scratched his head. "Oh yes, look for the tallest tree. It has a secret." They thanked Oliver and started looking. Tallest tree, Fluffy repeated. Finally, they found it. It was huge, but how to climb it? Fluffy tried to climb, but slipped. Squishy had an idea. "Let's make a ladder." They used sticks and vines. It was wobbly, but worked. At the top, they found another clue. "Good job, Fluffy," Squishy said. "We're getting closer." Fluffy beamed with pride. Maybe he wasn't so clumsy after all. Next, they needed to cross the river. There was a wise turtle named Timmy. He always stayed calm. "Hello, Timmy," Squishy said. "Can you help us cross?" Timmy nodded slowly. "Patience is key," he said. Fluffy was impatient. He wanted to jump in and swim, but Timmy stopped him. "Wait," he said. "Let's use the stepping stones." They followed Timmy, stepping carefully on each stone. Fluffy almost slipped, but Timmy caught him. Halfway across, Fluffy saw something shiny in the water. "Treasure?" he asked. But Timmy said, "No, just a rock. Focus." They finally reached the other side. "Thank you, Timmy," Squishy said. "Your wisdom is great." Fluffy learned patience from Timmy. He realized rushing wasn't always good. "Slow and steady," Timmy said, "like me." Fluffy nodded. He would try to be more like Timmy. In the forest, they met a chipmunk named Charlie. He was very hyper. Charlie said, bouncing around. "S4, hi, hi, hi."
"What are you doing?"
Squishy explained their treasure hunt.
I love treasure hunts.
He said, darting off. They chased him through bushes and trees. Charlie was too fast. Fluffy tripped again and fell into a puddle. "S4, follow me." Narrator, Charlie nodded quickly. "S1, calm down. Can you help us find the next clue?" Narrator, Charlie shouted. He ran in circles, making Fluffy dizzy. Squishy helped him up. Finally, they caught up with Charlie. He was digging frantically. "S1, oops," he said, holding up a clue. "S4, found it."
I can't help it. S1. Good job, Charlie, but slow down next time.
Fluffy smiled. Charlie's energy was contagious, but he was glad they could move on. Suddenly, they heard giggles. Evil squirrels surrounded them. Next, they entered the dark part of the forest. It was scary.
"We don't want trouble." Narrator. Fluffy was scared. Squishy stood firm. S5. Well, what do we have here? A treasure hunt.
They tried to run, but the squirrels set a trap. Fluffy and Squishy were caught in a net. S5, too bad. Narrator, Snappy laughed.
"You won't find the treasure now." Narrator, Snappy taunted them. S1, help.
But Squishy stayed calm. He used his sharp teeth to gnaw through the net. They escaped just in time. Fluffy was shaking. "S1, quick, Fluffy, run." Squishy patted his back. "S1, that was close." They knew they had to be more careful. The treasure was close. "S1, we made it. Let's keep going." They reached the last part of the journey, a cave. It was dark and spooky.
"This must be it. Do we have to go in?" Narrator, Fluffy gulped.
They entered the cave. It was cold and damp. Suddenly, a swarm of bats flew out. Fluffy screamed. Squishy held his paw. S1. Yes, but together. Narrator. Squishy nodded. They walked deeper in. The map showed a hidden door. They found the door, but it was locked. S1. Stay calm.
How do we open it?
They had to match the symbols. Fluffy tried, but it was hard. Squishy guided him. S1. A puzzle. Narrator. Squishy looked around. He saw symbols on the wall. Finally, they solved it. The door creaked open. Inside was a chest. S1 looked for patterns. They opened it and found the treasure. They cheered. They had completed their adventure. S1, we did it. The treasure chest was full of gold and jewels, but there was also a note. Squishy read it aloud. They took the treasure back home. Everyone celebrated. Even the evil squirrels apologized. S1, congratulations. This treasure is for the bravest and most loyal friends. That's us. Fluffy and Squishy forgave them. It was a happy ending. Fluffy learned he wasn't just clumsy, he was brave too. Squishy learned that brains and friendship are powerful. Together they were unstoppable. They realized the real treasure was their friendship and teamwork. S5, you were brave, we respect that. Brave.
To the best team ever, to us.
They high-fived. The Nutty Treasure Hunt was a success.